We know if it's live. Yay, we should be live on YouTube. Okay. Wonderful. And here we go. Yes, please add captions. That'll be wonderful. And we can let folks in. Just make sure that you're muted, Erin.
Effect, for example, a whole problem or a most problem.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to day one of the Yoga Visibility Challenge. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And invitation to drop in the chat 2 words of how you're doing in this moment. And then I'd also love to know where you are here from. So you can drop the location that you're joining us from in the chat. And whether you're joining us on YouTube or in the meeting room, anywhere in the world, you are so, so welcome. Ooh, Danny's here from Netherlands. Wow. Amazing. Jordan, DC area, Peru, New Mexico, Western Canada. Wow. Feeling energized. Oh my goodness. You can keep them coming from snowy, cold Canada, California, Delaware, Ontario, Toronto, Costa Rica. We're here from all over the world. This is really, really incredible. And I just want to say you're in the right place if you're here to uplift your voice and other voices with the tools of yoga. You're in the right place if you're shy, if you are like, what am I doing in a visibility challenge? I don't even know why I joined. This is for you too. So welcome. And an invitation to also, if you have like other applications open, if you're half working and you're half, if you can, to close all of those distractions and be fully present, because the more present you are, the more you'll get out of this. And it's going to be some pretty powerful stuff. So wherever you're joining from, let's take a moment. You can keep typing or just take a pause and we'll all stretch our arms up any amount away from the earth. So stretching up and away, gazing up towards the sky. You can bring your hands together above your head and then down towards your heart. And we'll do that 2 more times. So exhaling, stretching your arms out and around. Inhaling, arms raise up, gazing up towards the sky. And then hands come down towards your heart. And this time connecting in to your intention, whatever that might be, maybe inhaling truth, exhaling power, or inhaling presence, exhaling peace. Inhale, anchor in your intention, and exhale, pull that into your heart. Take a few deep breaths here. And then a gentle bow, bowing to your own intention, to this circle of sacred space that we're forming together, and honoring the history, the lineage, the roots of yoga that come to us from South Asia, from the Indian subcontinent, and translated and transmitted from teacher to student, on and on through time and space until they come to us, to you here today, and move through you into the world. So gentle bow. We'll all take a deep breath in, full breath out. And we'll chant Om 3 times. Ah, creation. Ooh, preservation. Transformation. And the whole sound together, gone beyond time, space, and form. Deep breath in to chant. Oh. 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 Shanti. 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 Om. And taking a moment to connect to that which is supporting you and holding you up. And then gently maybe shifting or moving in any way that your body needs. If your eyes were closed, looking around you, taking in form and shape and color. And really rooting and anchoring in your foundation, your seat. Wherever you are, you're here for a reason. And there is truth, your own or truth in the world that you're here to amplify, that is no accident. You are a vital voice and you are so needed. So I'm going to share the best that I know how of the tools and the practices of yoga so we can support each other's uplift and bringing each other's voices out into the world. So a lot of you probably know me, but some of you may not know that I am really shy, and I'm an introvert, which you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell if you just knew me from social media. But I have, for most of my life, had my heart pounding before I speak or teach, and that's to like a small group or a large group. It's still true, right? I get nervous before I teach. And part of why I practice and do a drop-in like that is for me as well as for you, so we can be in attunement and in holding the same energetic space, but also so I can be grounded and present with the practice. Any other introverts or shy folks in the space? Maybe you can just raise your hand, like, hold your hand up or put a heart or drop a note in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not amazing, I don't know what that's like, but I hope it's wonderful. So we're all welcome, right? Whether when you speak up, your voice shakes or it's easy for you, we're all welcome here. When I was young, I would not do my homework, or I would always do my homework, but I would say I hadn't done my homework if I thought I was going to have to share it out loud. And that was really hard for me because I'm the kind of person, and I was the kind of kid and student who liked to please my teachers. So once I walked into a speech class in college, community college, even though I was still in high school. And when it came time for me to go up and speak, because everyone had to speak, it was a speech class, I ran out of the room and I didn't go back. It took me a few years after that to turn back to the practices of yoga that I had grown up with. I grew up, my father is Assamese and from the northeast region of Assam, and my aunts and uncles are Assamese and Bengali from that region of India. And my mother is British. And I grew up in the US primarily, although I was born in England. I grew up both supported by the ancestral teachings of yoga, but also trying to reject them in public, right? And turn away from who I was. So I was very shy, very like uncomfortable in being mixed, being a person of color in this world. But it was the teachings of yoga that really helped and showed me how to connect to my voice and own my voice. And I love that folks are connecting in the chat. Yeah, I have terrible anxiety, MB, and other folks too, right? Like, I'm sure you're not the only one. I definitely can relate to having anxiety. And so if anyone else has had anxiety or experienced that, or, it's something you work with, this is, I think, part of what it means to be a sensitive, attuned, and caring person is sometimes things are overwhelming, right? Our own emotions, our ability to express or even be in the world. And then you've got things like oppression, systemic oppression, sexism, racism, heteronormativity, homophobia, right? Like transphobia, all of these things that are working to make us quieter, more silenced. For me, all of those things were at work, or many of those things were at work. And the practices of yoga were what I turned to in order to be able to, like, honestly just function, but also be able to show up. In my early years as a teacher, I was first a high school teacher. I taught English and history, and my students couldn't hear me. They would say, "Miss, like, we can't, at the back of the class, we can't even understand what you're saying because you're so quiet." And I knew I had to learn, one, how to own my voice and speak into the space for them, but also if I was going to be a teacher and like get through that school year, I needed to learn for myself as well, so I could be grounded and clear in my power. And so every morning I would practice asana, pranayama, meditation. I would come home, I would practice yoga nidra. It was a really challenging time. And for me, it was like the practice was this life raft that I was hanging on to just so I could show up and do the work that I had, for some reason, chosen to do, right? Even as a shy person. And as the year went on, it became that my class was the only, sometimes they'd be like, "Are you going to Miss B's class?" Yeah, I'm coming to class, but then I'm going to leave for the rest of the day, right? And I wasn't supporting students leaving school, but I was supporting their autonomy and their showing up in their own sovereignty and understanding how English and history could help them succeed and survive in a world that didn't make sense. This is in inner city, or actually in the suburbs of LA, but a challenging Title I school that I was working in and that I had gone to as a student, right? So I was back hoping to change and support other people as I myself had been supported. And during that time and in the years following, I began to share my voice more fully. I started to write, I started to blog. And I don't know if anyone is here from back in the day when I published in 2015 the How to Decolonize Your Yoga Practice article. Was anyone on my email list? My email list, by the way, was cobbled together of like people I knew that I just put on a Google list and then sent my blogs to. Would never do it that way now. always here for consent. Wow, Sherry, you were here from back in the day. Constina, you were here from back in the day. That's amazing. So I published this article, How to Decolonize Your Yoga Practice, and some of you may have read it and resonated with it. It's been shared around the world. But that was like a cry from my heart, a cry from my soul. I was very shy, very like, I don't know if anyone's going to resonate. And folks did. And then as it has, rippled out in the world and people started reflecting back to me, oh, that like speaking of your truth, even when it's countercultural or even when it's like causing ripples, that is what I want to do also. And so that's where this challenge came from, is it's not an accident. I'm not special in the sense that like there's anything particularly unique about me. I think that what makes me unique is truly the practices that I commit to and recommit to daily, moment by moment. And so we all have the possibility and the potential, and many of the folks here are already speaking up, right? And so it's like, how do we continue to nourish ourselves, sustain ourselves, and then uplift our voices? Wow, it landed so deeply. Yes, it's been shared around the world, no biggie. Yeah, I know. And then you know what's amazing? Someone just sent to me the book that I wrote, which also took, okay, like 20 years to live, and about 5 years to write. Yeah, humble brag. I don't mean to, but I just found out that it's on a New York Times list, right? So continually moving in service of your truth has ripples, but it's not like this happened overnight. This has been happening since really about 2001 for me. So over 20 years, right? Like, and it doesn't mean it's going to take that long for you. I also want to like timelines, we can work with them and play with them and shift them. But I wanted to share a little of my background and also a bit about that story because I think sometimes people think, oh, I can't do it because I'm not special or I'm not unique or she's this or they're that. But that's not how this story has gone. It's really been about continued commitment to the practice. And so what I want to share is those practices. So let me share my screen because it will help me make sure that I stay connected to the essence of what I want to share with you. Okay. So you can see this, yes? I put up one of the Shanti mantras, Om Asatoma Sat Gamaya, which was playing at the beginning, which is one of the Shanti mantras that speaks of leading us. And this has been chanted and practiced for thousands of years, right? So we're not just pulling something this decade or this century. This is a 1,000-year-old chant that is deep in the Vedic and yogic tradition to ask to be led from falsehood to truth, from ignorance to insight, and from death to immortality, and to practice for peace. And so yoga is unity, the root of yoga. And it's been a practice of exploring truth, historically in classical yoga, as well as in the modern era, and under oppression, under the colonial rule of India by the British. Part of the power that freed India from British rule is satyagraha, or truth force, the force of truth. In the Yoga Sutras, we have an explanation or a definition of satya in Sutra 2.36, Satya Pratishtayam Kriya Phalashriyatam. When the sadhaka, when the practitioner is firmly established in the practice of truth, their words become so potent that whatever they say comes to realization. When one is established in truthfulness, one ensures the fruition of actions. So all of the benefit of this practice is also shared, right? It doesn't necessarily mean right away, but over time. And then I shared a little bit about myself, but I'll just show you some of the pictures, right? This is where you could kind of see me shrinking a little. I had the little faux hawk, so I was trying to be in my power, but I really wasn't yet. And it was turning towards and back to a practice of yoga. Here I'm at the Sevagram in Warda at the Gandhi ashram, learning how to practice with a tarka, not a chakra, but a tarka. It's a loom to spin homespun khadi cloth. And that's what I'm wearing. My teacher here is wearing, to connect physically to a practice of self-sovereignty. Because under colonial rule, the British had Indians weave like cloth underwear, cloth clothing, cotton clothing, and then took it to England to actually produce it, and then brought it back to India to sell back to them at 10 times the cost at a markup. But it was inaccessible. And so Indian folks said, forget this, we'll make our own damn clothing, our own damn cloth, right? So what are the ways that we can practice Swaraj, self-rule? And one of them is to explore truth. And so I practice to speak my satya. It's not necessarily always easy, right? A process I went through last year around this time was to speak on a stage. And speaking on stages is still very challenging for me. But I engaged all these practices to continue to share. And I know that there's no time to waste and that the world needs what you have to share. So I like to define satya for us as it's not just speaking your truth, but it's listening deeply to others. So it's personal, it's interpersonal, listening to others. And then it's also systemic. It's connecting to the truth of a moment and bringing it forward, right? Speaking up to interrupt injustice or oppression, to aspire us towards the world we want to create. Now, right now, we're in the middle of a global strike for calling for a ceasefire for Palestine. And I want to just take a moment to speak to this moment, because I thought, do I cancel? Do I postpone? And the reason I chose not to postpone is one, Wizard Basan, who called for the strike, said, do what you can to lift up your voices. And so I thought, if I'm doing this challenge and I'm inviting folks to speak to their truth, and not just their own truth, but the truth that needs to be spoken, and someone here in the challenge speaks up to call for a ceasefire, then it's actually helping that cause. And so I just want to name that. It's not necessarily something everyone here would agree with, right? Like you could have a different opinion and that is okay. But that's part of the reason I made that choice. And the other is because our staff is primarily folks of color. Our tech team is all Black women. And they said, it's going to be really hard for us to postpone it. So it's also like taking the care, looking at all the ways we could be of benefit, outwards and then inwards. So I just also want to give that context and name that, because we're not separate from the world, right? We're in a context where what we do has ripples and impacts. And that's part of practicing yoga, is understanding those ripples and those impacts. Yes, Wizard Basan one on Instagram. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so let me pull. Do you see the slideshow or no? Yeah, okay. So our experience of Satya can change, right? Like your experience of truth or mine is connected to a sort of historical moment. And it's also connected to our emotions, our sensations, our sense impressions. And yet there's also a deeper level of Satya, of Sat. Sat, the root is like that unchanging truth. And there's a part of all of us, you know, maybe even just take a moment and go inwards, or let your eyes kind of gently focus on something, or even close. There's a part of us that is present, peaceful, that is witness, that's our inner soul or highest self, and that can never be born, can never die, can never be touched by the things of the world. And it is this Sat, that when we're practicing yoga, this truth that we're orienting towards. And if you've turned inwards, now coming back out. A lot of folks have said to me, like, I can never do what you do. I can never speak up. I'm worried about, pleasing people or upsetting people or people not liking me. And I want to bring forward that people are always going to have an opinion about what you do. They may tell you, they may not tell you, right? And especially if you're speaking up, they probably will. But it doesn't have to please everyone. It's that inner connection that we just connected to, that, like, whether you call it God or goddess or yoga or universe, right? Whatever it is that you get to tune into and say, are we good, God? Are we good, yoga? Like, am I in alignment with my highest self, with what I know to be true? And if the answer is yes, keep going, right? Regardless of the meaning that other people are making, the opinions that they're sharing. It gets to please you and your truth-loving soul. And we can be here for critical thinking, right? Not necessarily getting wisdom from the outside. And I'm always going to be the first to tell you, don't do something because I told you, but check in with your own critical thinking, your own inner wisdom, and what's already in you. And so this Sanskrit phrase, it's sort of like a mantra or shloka to come back to, and it's one that's repeated a lot in yogic and also other Vedic contexts. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Truth is one, but the intelligent express it in many ways. And so when you express your truth, it's going to be yours, your energy signature, your unique way of expressing. And there's no one who's going to share it quite like you do. And other folks will see you and resonate and go along. And then if someone's like, oh, but I want you to express your truth a different way, great, you do that, right? That's your way, not mine. Truth is radical as well. And the practice of yoga in the culture that we live in is incredibly, incredibly radical. Where culture, and particularly yoga culture in the West, is built on lying, manipulation, falsities, spiritual bypassing. And so telling your truth is radical. So now we're moving into the part where, if you've got a journal, I'd love for you to bring it forward to get ready to actually write, and then, or you can write in the chat. So what is your truth? And what is the message that you've been missing sharing? The truth in your soul, in you and your ancestors, right? In the legacy that you want to leave. And I'll share, right, the missing message. So when I started sharing, the missing message for me, I was sharing a lot of yogic tools for wellness. My first year or so of doing this publicly, which is around, well, actually it took me a couple of years. It was like 2012 to 2015, so 3 years. And what was missing was the understanding of systemic oppression. I understood it, but I wasn't sharing it. What was missing was talking about cultural appropriation, right? And then when I finally got like, oh, it's not a me thing. Like, I thought I was just kind of like a flawed yoga teacher, like not doing enough, not right, not fitting the mold, whatever. And I realized, oh, what's missing is my truth, the truth that this system has been rigged against me. The folks, like one of the people who yoga comes from, right? Like, I grew up with this practice through the family that raised me, my Indian aunts and uncles, my father. And I also chose to turn towards it, right? It's not like I was brought up with all of the tools either, a little bit, but I made that choice. And the shame and the grief and the anger and the frustration at what had been taken from me and was being watered down in our culture, all of that was missing. And so that was actually the truth that I needed to speak. And it was scary. It took a lot of courage to actually share that, because I was nervous, and it was a kind of like, it was an edgy message, and it sometimes still is. And my truth right now is there are moments where all of this is what I want to share, but I want to teach yoga. I want to teach yoga philosophy, right? And yoga practice. And so it's shifted now. I guess it's been almost a decade later. it's a different missing message. The missing message now, if I try to share on social, like my joy or a practice, and those of you who watch closely, it's like I'll get just a little bit of interaction. No one really people want me mad. And I'm like, I'm done being, my madness is part of me, but it's not all of who I am. And so there's another missing message that's coming forward, right? And I'm excited about creating a space that's all yoga socially, where I can share more of the practice that I want to share, rather than going to a platform where I don't think, the algorithm is biased towards negativity. And so I'm not sure I'm ever going to get what I need from the spaces that I'm in right now. So it's like create a new space, right? So I share all that personally to share for you. Yeah, can someone share the journal prompts again? And I love what y'all are saying. Okay. Part of my missing message, feeling this, is to not need permission from white culture to be whole and well. Yes. And in fact, if we wait for that permission, one, it will never come, because it's all the structures are set up to keep us unwell and unwhole. But we really don't need that permission from outside. And we can co-create it with our colleagues, with our friends, with other folks to support us. Rula, I think if we don't learn scriptures, we will always share from a shallow-sided yoga. Yes. And then Farah, a reason I get scared to share is because I feel like I'm bringing too much judgment, and guess I'm trying to discern what or how to say things, not to be palatable, but to be thoughtful. Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, for me, that judgment and the fear and the anger, I actually started to see it as a gift. Like if I'm sharing from my true raw, which I am now, and I can feel it, right? You can probably feel in my energy. It's like, I don't do this all the time, and I don't gift people with my judgment or my anger or my fear all the time, because it is truly a gift. It will shift things in the world, and yours is too. And so it's okay to share from that space if you feel okay, comfortable with it. But what do you need to tend to yourself, right? To care for yourself as you're sharing. And someone dropped the prompts. What is your truth? What is your missing message? So let me pull these up again. So here are the questions, and let's take a moment, because I know I've been talking a lot, to pause and to journal a little bit. So explore your Satya. So you can start with care for your own truth, and also build from there to amplify others' truths or truths of this moment as well. What truth are you not speaking? And one of the biggest keys is, where is there like tension or discomfort or fear, right, to yourself or others? What truths do you want to amplify? What courageous conversations are you, or do you want to take part in your community? Maybe with yourself first, in your community, in the world. What parts of your story have you been reluctant to share that you need to share? So we'll pause. I'll pause speaking, and I'll invite you to journal for maybe first thought, best thought, right? Just a couple minutes. And we'll write it together. I'm also going to light a candle for us as we are writing. Okay. So you can drop some of those things in the chat if you would like. Yes, previous slide. Yeah, feel free to screenshot any of this. Also, the recording will be up on my YouTube channel until Saturday, and you'll also be sent the recordings. So you can rewatch or connect to any of the prompts, because I know I'm sharing a lot quickly. Okay. So as you're finishing your thoughts, I wanted to invite us to embody this, right? So to begin to connect to practices that help us in amplifying our truth. And so if you would like, you can drop your one ear over towards one shoulder. I'm going to the right. I'm not sure if I mirror you or if it's reversed, but my right ear is towards my right shoulder. My right shoulder is towards the earth. And then you can take your opposite hand, for me it's my left hand, and stretch it away. If you're in a chair, maybe using your chair, even bringing the hand on the side that you're where the ear is stretching down towards the earth, up and over to deepen that stretch. And then deep breath into the side of your neck. Full inhale, full exhale. Dropping your face down towards the earth, rolling around till you're stretching on the other side. Inhaling and exhaling on this side. And then if you'd like, you can rock your face from one side to the other. Maybe turn your head one side to the other, just opening up this area. And as you do, an invitation to breathe in really deeply through your nose and exhale with a sound through your mouth. Maybe even breathing out through your lips. For me, working in this region, the fifth chakra, our throat, but also jaw, mouth, ears, the region of the energy of loving speech, deep truth, really helps to open and unlock. Roll your shoulders back and down. So now we move into the challenge part. So day one, continue to inquire, right? What's something you're afraid to say, but you know you need to, or you know you want to, and that could be to yourself, that could be out in public. I'm gonna look at your notes. Yeah. The truth, the belief that I've been having trouble speaking recently is accepting what I want and how to see my life is changing. I'm afraid of the irreversible change that's coming, inevitably coming, but I also know I have all the tools to make the decision that's right for me. Yes, I really feel that. And I want to be more okay making decisions and making mistakes and learning to regulate my nervous system. Yes, when I experience rejection, dysphoria, yes. Just honoring you and your truths that you're already speaking here. And then our practice is to actually take action, to practice Satya, right? To quick write, to film that missing message that we really need to hear from you. And then to share something you're afraid to say, but you know you need to. I posted a video earlier today on Instagram and TikTok, and you're welcome to stitch my video, because I ask you, like, what's something you need to say that you're afraid to say, right? So you can stitch it and then share, or just share your own. And without stitching mine, if you don't know what that means or how to do that, but you can just share your own video. Here's something I'm saying. I'm participating in the Yoga Visibility Challenge, and tag me and use the hashtag Yoga Visibility Challenge. And so again, I want to share a practice in a second, but I also want to say, for those who do share, because sometimes it's helpful to have like a little reward, right? Invitation to support each other, meaning to like look up the hashtag Yoga Visibility Challenge, comment, support, Tomorrow, we're going to move into a really powerful practice. Another key that I used for visibility and for amplifying that I'm really excited to share with you, all about collaboration, because we're not here on this earth alone, right? And the power amplifies when we share. So you can comment on each other's posts, uplift, share one another. And then I've got a new course that came from what folks asked for, which is like an accelerator specifically for yoga teachers and yoga practitioners. And we will be someone who shares today, tomorrow on our training, one of you will get this training for free. So I'm very excited about that. So moving back to our practice, I'm going to stop sharing for a second just so you can see, and then I'll put that back up. So we're going to move in some way, and it's your choice. It might be a modified sun salutation. So inhaling, your arms come up, exhaling, your arms come down. And we're going to move with a particular phrase that helps support our practice, right? So inhale with one phrase and then exhale with another. And let me pull those up. So this can be really helpful, especially when there's fear or discomfort with sharing a truth. It can actually be helpful to walk or to move in some way, to move your body. So inhaling, I touch the truth. Exhale, truth touches me. Inhale, I know the truth. Exhale, the truth knows me. Inhale, I speak the truth. Exhale, truth speaks me. Inhale, I am the truth. Exhale, truth is me. Deep breath in, inhaling truth. Exhaling truth. Thank you. So as we move to close our challenge today, any questions, any inquiry about how to do this, things you're nervous about, blocks, I want to invite you to drop those in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand. I'm also going to just quickly share, because someone DM'd me to ask to share more about what this accelerator is that you can win when you share this. And I dropped the link in the chat. It's a whole course, right? All on how to lift up your voice, particularly in the yoga landscape, and share more confidently and serve the world. So it's a whole course on this. So all of that is available to you. And one of you, if you share, will be in here joining us as we start. Is it live or self-paced? It's both. So we have modules that are self-paced, really short, really bite-sized, and then live coaching. So, and that live coaching, oh my gosh, yes. How is it different from YTT and YCC? Yeah, YTT is yoga teacher training. Some of you here have done TT with me. That's specifically to learn how to be a yoga teacher or to go deeper as a yoga teacher into mastery. YCC is like supportive practices from the yogic tradition. This is really specifically for visibility and amplifying your voice, right? It's tools for getting out there and all of the things that I've learned over the years, which I never really wanted to put into other trainings because not everyone wants that. Some people are in those programs just for their own personal practice. And yes, mantra, movement, journaling, scripture. I'm so glad that it felt supportive. TikTok or IG or both. You can do either one. Oh my gosh, I see the star of straight. And now I don't know what you're talking about, Jess. I missed. Maybe you can tell me. Yeah, I feel like a fraud, Lisa. It's so common. Again, we can raise our hands or put hearts. So many of us, I think, feel that. And it's like feeling it and doing it anyway, right? What's on the other side of the risk is everything that we're wanting to move towards. When does the live coaching begin? When the training starts. So it's the end of February. Even just acknowledging, Ria, my truth is evoking the sensation of tears because I know my truth. I speak it to everyone else proudly except for my parent. That fear is so strong. Yes. Yeah, really feeling you. And you also get to protect it. Like you don't have to speak your truth in every circumstance. I don't. There are circumstances where the priority is caring for my well-being. Prentice Hemphill has this beautiful saying, boundaries are the space at which I can love you and me simultaneously. And for relationships that we can't be our full selves or where we can't be seen in our full truth, it is so welcome. It's a practice of brahmacharya to practice boundaries, right? You get to choose. Yes. Any other questions? Is it normal not to have all the answers to our missing message? Yes, straight away. Absolutely. And sometimes the message can be, I'm struggling with this. I have these questions and I don't know the answers, but sharing that is part of the power, right? I certainly don't have all the answers to a lot of the things. Who do you tag? Yes, at Susanna Barkataki. Can you explain one more time how to enter the challenge? Absolutely. Let me just pull it up because it's probably the easiest. There we go. Okay. So you're sharing something that you've been afraid to say, right? Something from your satya, your truth. You're sharing your satya in some way, your story, something you're afraid to say. You can stitch my video. It's already up on TikTok and Instagram. You can do either one or both and share yours, or you can just share a video, like go on and share a video or share a post. It doesn't have to be a video. It can be words, right? And pictures or a picture. And then you tag me and use the hashtag Yoga Visibility Challenge. And I'll reshare folks as you're sharing. And invitation for all of us to search this hashtag and then comment, support, uplift one another. So is that clear? So you're going on, like literally going on your phone, going on social, right? So social media challenge. You can share in other places too. You can email, however you want. Reference the challenge or use the hashtag, right? So folks know that you're part of this, and then tag me and share. And that is an entry. And you can enter as many times as you want. One person randomly will win the Teach Yoga to Millions course. And any other questions? Karen, yes. Oh, let me make sure everyone can unmute. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, of course, I love all you do. I love it. I'm here because part of it is the question itself seems so big. So I was writing, I appreciate the question of my truth or my satya, but I either get too much in my head or nothing. So the answers aren't my issue. It's what is that one question? So I was wondering if there are practices for clarity.
Yes. Okay. So I love this question. Two things. One that comes is it's a third eye, right? It's that insight. So it's the connection of speaking your truth, but also clarity. And so even like doing a gentle practice to massage your third eye just very lightly. And then this chakra physically moves through us. You remember this from the 300, Karen, from here to the base of our skull, GB20, for those who know acupuncture. So that bony ridge at the base of your skull. And so massaging back there. And then also any asana shapes that support or put pressure on your forehead. So that might be child's pose, balasana. And then rather than like trying to figure it out, moving into the body. So doing practices to stimulate and connect here, but then connect to like first chakra, second chakra, movement, grounding, walking meditation, letting the insights, you know, kind of opening, but then just letting it flow, letting it come in. I hope that helps.
Oh, yeah. And then what I'm walking away with mostly is whatever practice, because I'm in everything.
Yeah,
YCC.
I know you are.
I
You're
love it
amazing.
all. But I think what you're really saying is to be in the practice, maybe even do as the YCC, you're talking about the Satya practice. What I'm really hearing is it's about allowing. I'm thinking too hard.
Yeah, it is.
I
It's
have to
about
allow.
doing every action you must do.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and allowing, not being attached to the fruits. That's powerful. Molly, will it work if you have a private IG? I don't know. Maybe try it and then send it to me in a DM on social media and I'll follow you if I'm not following you. And please don't get upset if I don't follow you. There's so many folks. I'm happy to follow you if you send me a message and then I will. But I
You'll
might
have to DM. I have a private and you'll have to DM because you can't connect it. Nobody
Okay.
else will see it. There. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever's asking, they're right. They're gonna have to DM you.
Okay. Yeah. So DM me. Wonderful. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh, I love this. So excited to see this on socials. All of our Satya is so vital. I have so much to share. I think that, and you don't want to overwhelm. Bite size, right? Step by step. Share a little, and then just keep sharing. And there's no rush. We have plenty of time and space. I'm so glad you're feeling empowered. For the technology challenge, do I record it and post on my stories? Your Instagram page. Yeah, and tag me. Our Satya. Oh, I'm so glad you asked this, Valeria. Does it have to be yoga related? No, no, no. Because, right, we talk about this in training. All life is yoga. And so a fight you diffuse, a moment you speak up, all of that that's like tapas or, you know, your deep discipline or satya, right? So it doesn't have to be like, oh, I did this on my mat or I did this in my yoga practice. Absolutely not. It's anything in your life, your truth. For someone not on any social media, oh, I love this, Adam. I'll find ways to share in my local world. Wonderful. And you're more than welcome if you want to be part of the challenge to just share, like email us and you can respond to the emails we send you because that'll go to hello@ignitebewell and share what you did and you'll be entered if you would like to be part of the challenge, which you know, you don't have to, but you're welcome to. Okay. Let's close. Let me take a sip of water. Excuse me. Wow. Ah, what fire from day one. And we're just beginning tomorrow. We're going to do a some really exciting practices. So really, really looking forward to seeing you for all 3 days. And we'll take just a moment to anchor into your intention of truth. And then offer it up. Inhaling, stretching out and away. And then exhaling, hands come down to your heart. A deep bow. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for your practice. Many blessings. And you can unmute if you'd like and say goodbye and say your truth. And I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you,
Thanks
everyone.
for honoring Bisan.
Thank
Free
you.
Palestine.
Yes, Free Palestine. Thank you,
Thank you for
Susanna.
honoring the son.
Thank you.
One.